driving in the car as we review.
So yeah, so any audio issues or anything like that, we apologize. But I don't know, I like doing it this way.
I know you do,
Personally.
sweetheart, but like I'm not as loud as you.
That's true. I am very, very loud.
Anyways,
So project from the diaphragm.
As we get closer to the school year starting and having, our oldest going into her senior year, and my middle one starting high school, and it's just, we find the time when we find the time.
Exactly.
So, we are talking today about a movie you would kind of put in the light horror genre, I would say.
I'm very surprised that they didn't try to release this one around October.
Right.
I feel like this is another one that's hit the they're calling it a box office disappointment, box office bomb, whatever that means in this day and age. And I can't help but feel that maybe had they released it in October, when it feels like the themes and everything of the movie would have lined up better with the season.
Well, honestly, I think what they're planning on is doing more of what they did with Hocus Pocus 2, which is like a spooky season Disney Plus release, and drawing more people into Disney Plus with the Haunted Mansion.
Maybe.
Because I don't even think that they released Hocus Pocus 2 in the theater.
They didn't.
At all.
It went direct to Disney Plus.
So, like, I think that they wanted to have it on their streaming service by, Halloween time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the economics of streaming services works.
Well, and I have to wonder too if the impending, not impending anymore, but current actors and writers strike had anything to do with it.
I don't think so, because they had the release date for this long before the writer's strike became a thing.
I don't know.
So, but I realized something today. You realize this is the third time Disney has tried to make a movie out of the Haunted Mansion ride?
I knew the Eddie Murphy one, but what's the other one?
They did the Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Did they?
Yeah, that was another Disney Plus exclusive.
I don't think I ever watched that.
I don't think I did either, and that's the shame as a Muppetophile as I am, and that sounds awful.
Let's just call you a Muppetaholic.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
It's a sad day when aholic is a better better descriptive term. But I never saw it either. But yeah, I realized that today, preparing for this. Yeah, this is the third time they've attempted this.
Well, I love this little, I'll call it a cozy horror genre.
Yeah.
I love, Halloween Town, Hocus Pocus. I even love Hocus Pocus too. I love these movies that are a little bit spooky, but more fun than spooky. I guess I would put things like A Nightmare Before Christmas in that ilk.
Okay.
I do love horror movies, you know that, but I'm not a fan of gory, and these don't tend to be gory.
I'm with you on that.
I just think that they're kind of charming and fun and good little sugary nuggets to watch like that. So, speaking of horror and horror subgenres, okay, what would you put in that kind of comfort, scary, spooky zone?
I have an affinity. I go the opposite way of you a little bit. I have an affinity for what I would consider campy horror film. Now, of course, my Halloween watching definitely includes Hold That Ghost and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. But the last This Is Halloween review series that I did, I focused a lot on campy horror movies and things like And I don't mean like just Mystery Science Theater drive-in type of things.
Which you watch a lot.
Which I watch a lot of. I'm talking about ones that are just, there's no other way to describe them than campy, like the
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Not even the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I'm talking about things like The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini.
Oh.
God, I can't remember. It's called the Ghost of Drag Strip Hill or something like that.
Oh.
It's like all these, like, it's one of these 50s movies where the teens are, hot rodders and.
So almost like a beach blanket bingo type of movie.
But it's in a haunted house.
Okay. Now, haunted house, that's an interesting subgenre of horror, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I think you've got your, different kinds. I would say haunted house movie is kind of a subgenre, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's more of your, like, Scooby-Doo type thing,
Yeah,
right?
and that's the exact thing. I like it when it's like, it's some guy in a Halloween mask, not like a Jason thing, but like I was a smuggler and you meddling kids kind of
you
thing.
can blame it on the meddling kids.
Yeah, as opposed to the, the house is really haunted by sadistic demons and it's ripping that kind of thing. I'm not really.
You're not an Amityville horror type.
Not really, no.
Hmm.
You know what a really terrible one is? You want to know what a really terrible one?
What's
Hillbillies in a Haunted House.
Oh.
It's a sequel, if you can believe it. And it's
like
Hillbillies in Las Vegas, I think is the name of it, the first one. And it's literally like a commercial for the Grand Ole Opry. It's like 3 country singers who end up in a haunted house and they just come up with weird reasons to sing songs and they're on their way to a jamboree and the movie has like Lon Chaney Jr. and I think Peter Cushing. No, it's Basil Rathbone and just all these aging horror actors who are just so sad.
Do you know, like, I feel like life should actually include more jamborees. All these movies have jamborees.
They do.
And, like, have you ever really been to something you could describe as a jamboree?
Never in my life.
So, yeah.
Never in my life have I ever been to a jamboree. Or, I don't know what they call it in beach blanket bingo when they rock out.
Beach blanket bingo bash?
I guess. You know the great things?
Or a clam bake.
A clam bake, yes. This is a great place for the clam bake. Yay!
Yeah.
You know what the really horrifying thing about movies like that, or again I point to Ghost in the Invisible Bikini, the scariest thing about any of them, it is some of the whitest dancing you will ever see.
Yeah.
I want everybody who's listening to this, all 2 people, to go and find the movie Ghost in the Invisible Bikini and watch the dance scene where they're dancing with like a yo-yo, like everyone, it's like this weird yo-yo thing, and there's a dude in that and he is doing the whitest fucking dance. I cannot describe it. You'll know it when you see it.
I gotta say it probably have some of the whitest casts.
Oh my God,
too,
yes.
But,
Dear God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going with a haunted house type of situation, I would say it's not a movie, but a series. The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix was like astonishing. And if you could keep me, jumping and interested and engaged for, 6 episodes of something, that's pretty good.
Of course, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean here, but is it hard to make you jump?
It's hard to make me jump continuously.
Okay.
Anyways.
That was not a euphemism, by the way, just so everybody's clear.
I am known to be a little bit of a loud horror movie watcher.
Yes.
Yeah. What about other haunted house movies?
Oh, man.
Did you ever see, oh gosh, oh no one, now I'm going to remember.
I've never seen Oh Gosh.
13 Ghosts, was it?
I think I have, actually, yes. Matt, my best friend, had me watch one. I think it had Tony Shalhoub and Matthew Lillard in it.
I think that's 13 Ghosts.
Yeah. It
was Antonio Banderas in that one?
Maybe?
Yeah, we should do more research before we do these
We really should.
And of course, the classic Amityville Horror and The Conjurings. Yeah, those are up there. There was a movie that, remind me of her name. She's the redheaded companion.
Oh,
she's also
Karen Gillian.
Karen Gillian was in this, and Mark Ruffalo, I think. Maybe.
Is it the mirror thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing trailers for it.
Oculus.
Oculus, that is it. Yes, you are correct.
That one was good. That one kept me guessing a lot. That had a lot of a lot of very edge of my seat moments. So I enjoyed that one very much. I would guess that it's more haunted mirror, I would say.
Yeah, haunted object.
Yeah. So.
And I know we're not allowed to say things like this anymore, but
oh my God,
I still really like Cabin in the Woods.
Okay.
Which is a cabin movie and not a haunted house movie, but I love just all of the cliches and everything that they lean really hard into. You mentioned the haunted objects, and they go in the basement where there's like all these different objects, and depending on which one they pick, that's the one that's the monster that's going to come get them.
I was envisioning the knock at the cabin door, and I couldn't figure out why aren't we supposed to talk about that. Remind me why Cabin in the Woods is problematic.
Because it's a Joss Whedon joint.
Joss Whedon!
I mean, he wrote it, he didn't actually direct it.
I was going to say, didn't Eli Roth direct that one?
I think so, but he was heavily involved in it, so.
Damn it, Joss Whedon.
So, yeah.
Stupid anti-feminist trash making me not enjoy things that I used to enjoy. Anyway.
Well, what about, since we're on this, let's just go down the rabbit hole. What about the episode of Angel with Cordelia's haunted apartment?
Okay, that one is classic.
And Phantom Dennis.
I do enjoy Phantom Dennis.
I really liked Phantom Dennis. I'm sad he never got really any closure.
No, I mean, he got to live happily in his apartment.
But then when Cordelia disappeared and came back,
that's true.
They never went back to her apartment. So you're just assuming that Phantom Dennis is there kind of by himself, or unless they rented it out to someone.
Well, she had moved out of that by then anyways, hadn't she?
No, I think she was still there.
She didn't move into the hotel?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
But even if she did, the Dennis was still kind of on his own. That's sad.
Then you had Buffy, the Haunted Frat House.
The Haunted Frat House, which has kind of the best. That has two of them. That has the best reveal of the demon.
Yeah.
At the end, where it turns out it's really tiny.
Yeah.
And it has just because for who I am, that great line from Sarah Michelle Gellar when they first walk into the haunted house, this is scary. If I was Abbott and Costello, I'd be fairly traumatized.
Yeah, but the bad part about that episode is this somehow implication, or they're inferring that Buffy and Riley have any kind of interesting sex at all.
Now, was that one, or was that a different haunted frat house?
Isn't that the one where they get stuck in there?
I'm trying to remember now. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's that.
I think that was prior to Riley coming in fully into the picture, and then I think the one that was the year later was where they were constantly having sex.
Oh,
and
it was so dumb.
And they were channeling their power.
Least sexy sex scenes ever.
I know. I'm sure the guy who plays Riley is a nice guy. I'm sure he's a nice fella.
Sure.
He's just very white.
So milk.
Very, very, very milquetoast. But I'm sure he's a nice fella.
Anyways. So we've kind of merged like,
we're still on topic.
It's kind of. I think there are definitely some episodes of the Buffy Angelverse that would fit into this cozy, spooky kind of vibe.
I don't know if this really goes. This one's not cozy, really, but the episode of Doctor Who, that classic episode Blink, the first one with the Stone Angels.
Yes.
Oh, that is downright fucking terrifying.
Yes.
Like, that is a horrific episode. And that's the level of scary I like. You know, I like that type of scary. The type of scary of...
Is someone in the dark waiting for you?
Well, I like it when the fear is generated by something mundane.
Okay.
You know, everybody's done the spooky doll kind of thing, but being afraid of blinking, you know, that takes some, that's creativity right there.
Now, what about the episode of, since we're on Doctor Who, the episode of Doctor Who that's the Christmas one, and it's like the time traveling Christmas one.
The time traveling Christmas one?
That's kind of spooky horror, kind of.
Which one? Like, they're all time traveling.
The one with the guy and the girlfriend and the girl. There's the guy and the girl, and it's Dickinson-y.
Okay, so you're speaking of, I don't remember the name of the episode, but it's the second one with Clara, where the snowmen are coming to life. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know now. Now I don't remember.
But it's the one with the guy and the girl that time travel.
Yeah, and he has to, like, there's a watch. Oh God, now I'm not. I need to rewatch Doctor Who. Anywho, so obviously we are going to be talking about the Haunted Mansion, the newest iteration of the Haunted Mansion. When we come back, yeah. Be prepared for me to yell at Brandon about some stuff.
Wow. Okay.
In a sweet, loving.
That gives me something to look forward to.
Way.
Okay. Now I'm scared. I'm more scared now than I was during that movie.
Shut your face hole. We will be right back.
Okay, and we are back, and we are discussing this thing that happened.
The Haunted Mansion. Beware, if you step any farther into this review, your life may be changed forever.
Very good, baby.
Thank you.
Yes, you'll hear the greatest movie reviewers ever.
Sure.
Anyway,
okay, so you talked earlier, this is based on the ride, the Haunted Mansion at Disney World.
Yeah, have you ever been to the Haunted Mansion?
I don't think we rode the ride. I've only been to Disney World once, and we were only there for a day because we couldn't afford to be there any longer. So I don't think we waited in line and went on the Haunted Mansion.
It's pretty spectacular from what I remember.
Okay.
Like, there's a reason why it's a staple of Disney World.
So is it like, kind of like It's a Small World thing where you ride and you kind of go through a house, like a tour?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the one I always remember are the 3 hitchhiking ghosts. I remember the room where everything elongates and the pictures stretch out. I remember the ballroom that you ride past and you see all the ghosts dancing, you know, so it is a pretty spectacular ride. There's a reason it's legendary.
So yeah, and my folks, I grew up pretty religious. They were not into like the whole ghost and everything. So yeah, no, that wasn't really. I remember thinking that the tombstones were funny.
Yeah.
But we didn't really go on it. But of course I've known about the Haunted Mansion stuff, and then one of my favorite favorite TikTokers, Goth Baby.
Yes, Goth Baby.
Well, Rebby Hardy and they are really into the Haunted Mansion, and so I've seen some stuff on here. But so yeah, I didn't really come into this with any preconceived notions.
I can't say I did either. Except maybe this is another attempt for Disney to try to get that Pirates of the Caribbean magic to strike twice, which hasn't worked since the original Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, are there any other movies based on like the whole rides? Like, there's no Tower of Terror movie.
No. Well, there was on the Disney Channel years ago. I think it had Steve Guttenberg in it.
Huh.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about most of the rides at Disney is most of the rides are based on the movies instead of the movies being based on the rides.
Yes.
Because, like, even the Tower of Terror originally was the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
And now it's something else.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what.
You know, Splash Mountain was Song of the South.
But now it's Moana's ride.
No, it's Tiana's.
Tiana's, yeah, not Moana's. Sorry.
There was the undersea thing, which was based on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So this is kind of a unique one with Pirates, where it wasn't based on anything originally, and they're trying to now give it some kind of brand identity, which it doesn't really need because it's already a brand.
It reminds me kind of like the conversation we had last week about brand movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Eddie Murphy reiteration, did you watch that?
Parts of it. I couldn't get all the way through it.
By that time of my life, I was pretty over the whole Eddie Murphy thing.
Yeah, same here.
So
I was over the Eddie Murphy thing after Coming to America. That was his last good movie.
Well, I would disagree with you on that, but I was still like, I don't know. I just didn't care for the whole thing he was giving at that point.
Yeah. So anyway, the story of this one, the story they have tried this time is Rosario Dawson and her son buy a mansion in Louisiana with the hopes of turning it into a B&B, only to find it is incredibly haunted with a bunch of ghosts.
Right.
And the hook is that anybody who enters the house, a ghost latches onto them and forces them to return to the house. So, with the overall goal of the head ghost, Jared Leto, trapping all these people, including a fake priest, a college professor, a low-level medium, and our main character, who is a physicist whose wife was into the paranormal and she died, and he invented a camera that could take pictures of the paranormal.
You know, when you say it all like that, it just sounds so convoluted. And
it is really convoluted.
No, because we start off with our Lakeith Stanfield character, Chris, I want to say his name was.
Yeah.
And he's meeting his wife for the first time. He's a neurophysicist, or a physicist.
Yeah, he's
astrophysicist. Astrophysicist. She is someone who leads ghost tours in Louisiana. So she's more into like the supernatural realm. And so despite them having very different, views on the supernatural realm, they kind of mush together. And because of her, he invents this spectral photography where the theory is that it can, if there are hauntings or there are otherworldly beings, this camera can capture their essence. All right. So when Gabby and Travis, her son, are trying to get rid of the ghosts in the house, they've contacted Father Kent, and Father Kent tracks down Chris and convinces him to take the money, like a significant amount of money. I want to say it was like $2,000 to come photograph the house and look for the ghosts. And he comes and he does a real crap job of it, and he leaves, but lo and behold, the ghost attached to him and gets him back. Okay? And so we have him there in the house, and we're gathering the motley crew into the mansion to bring down this main ghost, because he's got to collect 1,000 souls. He's got 999. He's
got to collect 1,000 souls for reasons, because
to do the full moon spell to release his spirit.
He gets something if it happens.
He gets to be free.
Out.
He gets to leave the mansion and haunt other people. If he does the spell of the 1,000 souls under the full moon. I don't know why this is so hard for you. Okay, so like I said, Lakeith Stanfield is one of our main characters. Rosario Dawson is the female lead. Yep. We had Chase Dillon playing the young Travis. Owen Wilson as Father Kent. Tiffany Haddish as the medium, whose name I am not remembering at the moment.
And Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito as the college professor, and Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota.
A previous medium who got trapped
in that
there.
house. So, let's go through the list cast-wise. You are not an Owen Wilson fan.
I am not an Owen Wilson fan.
You like him in The Big Ear?
Yes, but even that he is subpar in.
Okay.
Like, especially up against Steve Martin and Jack Black.
I think the only thing that I've heard you compliment him in was the Loki series.
Yeah, he was decent in that, but he's just not a great actor. You know, but I'll be honest, I mean, we can go person by person, but I'll say I think the cast was good.
Well, I just wanted to know specifically about Owen Wilson because I know he's on your I don't like him list.
He's more on my I just don't care about him list. I don't outwardly hate him, but he's just...
I'm not going to say that Owen Wilson deserves an Oscar, but I will say that if you are looking for a specific type of character, he plays that character better than a lot of people. And I think he was just right for Father Kent.
I think he was fine. Yeah. I think he was fine. Like, I can think of people who could have played the role better. But I think he did okay. I got no real...
He brings a certain kind of sincere smarminess to things.
I mean, I think he brings a half-stoned, like...
Yeah, there you are, going not liking stoner people.
He's just like, whoa. He never grew out of that Ben Stiller era, you know...
I don't think he needs to. I think he has found a niche spot and he's good to go there.
You know, and I can't fault him there. If he found a niche and he's getting paid and he's happy doing it, then I can't fault him. You know, good on him.
Yeah.
You know,
so far he hasn't seemed to say anything problematic like Ben Stiller does.
This is true. You know, so I mean, I don't fault him. Actually, I don't hate Owen Wilson. I'm bored by him. I don't care.
I enjoyed little things like Hassan Minaj coming in as the police sketch artist.
The sketch artist bit in the trailer is the funniest fucking part of the movie. That is the best part of the entire movie.
I disagree.
That to me was the absolute pinnacle of the film, in my opinion.
I thought that was very good.
I thought it was so funny.
So you did not even appreciate Lakeith Stanfield's role in this?
No, I actually liked him. The way they shot him and the way they photographed him, and I don't know if it's just his natural posture where he's constantly kind of standing to the side, his head's lowered. You know, the way that they kept framing him gave him a very menacing presence.
No, and I totally disagree with that. I think he was grieving, and I think that his entire posture was broadcasting that. He was grieving.
No, you know what I saw, and this is not an insult. Like, this is like what I thought watching him on screen and the way he was standing and the way he did. I was like, I want to see this guy play a superhero.
Well, yeah.
More specifically, I want to see him play Gambit.
Yeah. Yes. You talked about that.
You know, but I didn't feel And it's nothing to do with his acting. He did very well in the role. And he had some real emotional pathos. It's just the way he was photographed always gave him this kind of hunched over, looking up through the eyes kind of thing. This very kind of, I don't know, very menacing kind of stance.
What was your predominant problem with this? Because in case you have not noticed, in case you have not picked up on this, dear audience, I enjoyed the movie very, very much. And Brandon did not. So what was your primary issue?
My primary issue, I have two.
Okay.
I have two issues. One of them is, I think, legit, and the other is just preference.
Okay.
All right. The preference one is, in terms of the ghosts themselves, I would have preferred a little less CGI, a little bit more practical effects. Especially as it relates to our main villain, the Hat Man, Jared Leto, who has a scary-ass face, and yet it was CGI to such a degree. It's like, why have him in there anyway? You could have gotten anybody.
You could have done it with nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Why him? And that's a preference.
I will agree with you on that part.
Now that's preference.
Right.
And there's a certain point where you have to ask yourself, am I reviewing the movie I saw, or am I reviewing the movie I wanted to see?
Okay.
And I admit that that's a preference thing. The legit criticism I have is that it was frickin' boring. It was long, it was drawn out, there were huge stretches. I'm going to see the Haunted Mansion because I want to see frickin' ghosts. And there were long stretches where no hauntings or anything. And I know that they were trying to do character development and all of this, but I think you could have trimmed some of that down and kept it at a much quicker pace and keep the scares coming. But we just meander for so long that I lost interest.
See, and here's my thing. I totally disagree with you on that. I thought it was entertaining and engaging because I don't think it was about the being scary. This was more on the cozy side of cozy spooky than it was on the spooky side. Okay. I think there were, it would have been cool to see some more ghosts come in, but I disagree that it was boring. I thought all of the storylines were really interesting and engaging. I was rooting for the characters. I was on, the edge of my seats in some places. There's a whole subplot with the son, who I think he did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Chase Dillon did.
Yeah, he did. He did a very good job, young actor.
There was a part that I didn't totally pick up on with him, and I usually pick up on these things right away, and I didn't really pick up on him until farther into the story.
Well, you weren't supposed to.
I know, but usually I do, because I watch a lot of this stuff. But I didn't pick up on it until farther into the story. And I was really, kind of enchanted by the story of Lakeith Stanfield and his wife and the struggle he had there. And I love the little partnership that Tiffany Haddish and Jamie Lee Curtis kind of came up with. And, I thought that the sets were beautiful, the costumes were amazing, the music was great. The parts with the ghosts in it were really cute and charming. Like the one where the ghost goes into the candle and he's trying to blow himself out. I thought it was so cute. It would have been really cool to see more of the ghosts and their interactions in the house. But it would have made the movie too long. I think they should have a sequel where where Rosario Dawson turns it into a bed and breakfast like she planned to, and the ghosts are trying to help her out. And then we can have more of the ghost interaction, you know? I thought it was charming, and I can't wait for it to come out on Disney Plus so I can watch it again.
No, fair enough. And it's not that I hated it. I thought there were some really good parts. I really enjoyed the scene with Tiffany Haddish and Gambit. I'm just gonna call him Gambit.
Lakeith Stanfield, where they're talking.
And she's talking about I forget what they called it.
The ghost winks.
Ghost winks, about, she misses her father, and her father was really into trains, and when she's walking along and she hears a train whistle, she thinks that that's her dad. I thought that was a really well written, really well acted, and very sweet and tender moment. I liked that. I thought that was, so I'm not hating on what they did. It's just I was more interested in the mystery of who the main ghost was and who all these other ghosts were. And I guess, again, this is a question of, are you reviewing the movie you wanted to see or the movie that you actually saw? The movie I was kind of hoping they would go with is trying to find out who all these ghosts were, and all these, because you have over almost 1,000 ghosts in this. You had the two brothers who killed each other in a duel. You had the woman who had chopped off the heads of all of her. I wanted it to be more of a, like, these people trying to figure out who all these people were to release them.
Right.
And
I think that could be, like, this. I wonder if Disney is leaving it open for something like that.
Oh, I'm sure that they were hoping to leave it open for sequels, because everybody's wanting their next franchise.
What I could picture that as is one of the series, or even an animated series, where Travis is helping Travis is helping these ghosts solve their unsolved business.
Yeah. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit more like that. And I thought that what they went with was okay, but it was far too drawn out, and it lost the hook for me. I was there to see the Haunted Mansion, and that's what I wanted to go with. And I understand the need for character development and relationship building and all of that, but I think we could have condensed all of that and made a much more fast-paced, interesting, keep you... In my understanding of a horror movie, and you've seen more of these than I have.
Right.
And even understanding that this is a family scary film, that the quiet moments are there to give you a chance to recover from the shock.
True, but not necessarily true in more of a fun, cozy horror movie. Then it's more about the storyline. But and you've said this about movies like this before, you're not necessarily the target audience. And the target audience that was with us, the 11-year-old and the 14-year-old, they stayed engaged with it through the whole thing.
I guess so. They were engaged. I was fighting to stay awake.
Yeah. We did go see The Late Show.
That doesn't bother me normally.
I know.
It used to.
Yeah, you worked all day and then we went to see The Late Show.
But it just, I don't know. I think they really could have done something. And I know we're living in a much different time, but one of the things I've always admired about creative geniuses like Walt Disney and like Jim Henson is that people always think that they were these, oh, Mickey Mouse, oh, Kermit the Frog, oh, sweet, fun stuff. They had dark senses of humor.
Right.
Both of them, and loved the macabre, and loved the weird, and...
Well, I think you saw some of that in this, especially the ghosts, like when you're talking about the mansion where the hat ghost came from.
Yeah.
You know, when with the or what's his name, Daniel Levy and the cemetery under the mansion.
Yeah.
You know, I think you get some of that.
You know, and okay, thank you for bringing it up, because we have to bring it up. Why the fuck was Daniel Levy in this?
Because it was awesome.
Why? Daniel Levy is awesome, but this was barely a fucking... I can only assume, or at least I hope, that most of his scenes ended up on the cutting room floor.
No, what?
Because he's in there for 2 seconds, you're like, oh, it's Daniel Levy, and he's fucking gone.
Well, it's not like they advertised that he was in it. Like,
but still, it's like...
not like he was, oh, this Dan Levy's gonna be in this. But, I think it was more just, like, if I had to hazard a guess, I think that Daniel Levy was like, oh, I want to be in the Haunted Mansion. And they're like, great, do this thing.
You know what you needed? I'm sorry, I'm going to back this up and go back to
Winona Ryder was in it, too.
Winona Ryder was in it.
Yeah, for like half a second.
No, she was in there longer than he was as the tour guide.
Yeah.
But you know what this movie really needed? And I think this would have helped.
What?
You know, what this movie needed within its motley crew was it needed the Shaggy. It needed the person who was constantly getting scared, and constantly it needed the Lou Costello.
But that was Father Kent.
No, it wasn't. He was like...
It absolutely was Father Kent.
He was like,
trying to run away. He was so scared.
He was not funny scared.
Okay, here's my thing. Knowing what the movie is now, I want to see you watch it again. When it comes out on Disney Plus, I want you to watch it again
I'm
see.
Going to. I know
well,
that.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
Yeah, exactly. I know I'm not going to have a choice.
I want to see if you have any difference of opinion going in knowing what it's about. And just judging
it's highly possible.
For what it actually is.
No, but now tell me this.
Okay.
If Daniel Levy, instead of being just a cameo, had been part of the main cast and had been the guy who's constantly getting frightened, can you imagine David Rose being scared of ghosts?
That would have been very funny.
Wouldn't that have just that would have provided the energy?
I would have rather it had been Daniel Levy being the one who was playing the man in the hat ghost guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, anybody's better than Jared Leto.
True.
But that's what this movie needed. That was the missing piece. You could have all of the character stuff, but you needed somebody to keep the energy up and keep the story, you know, while everyone else is... That's where Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, succeeded, is that you had Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley to do the story, but you had Johnny Depp being crazy to keep the energy up and keep the audience engaged.
See, and I disagree that this wasn't engaging.
I think it was very unengaging, but I think if they put Daniel Levy in there and let him be scared of the ghosts, I think that would have fixed everything, honestly. I really do.
So I hesitate to ask, but give me your grade.
Final grade. You know, I didn't hate it. I know it sounds like I hated it.
It does sound like you hated it.
I was bored by it, but it doesn't mean I hated it. It had some good parts. I think the acting was decent, and I think there was some really good writing in there. But I'm going to be honest, I'm going with a C- on this one.
Boo.
Boo. I wish there was more booze.
Boo.
I wish there was more ghosts.
Maybe
Please.
if you would have had some booze, it would have been better.
Exactly.
I'm going to give it an A. Like,
Jesus.
I don't think that it was perfect. I would have preferred to have, I'll even say A-. Because like you said, having less CGI and more practical effects would have made the ghosts more engaging. But I think the story was nice. I think that I'm a lot more drawn to the, costumes and setting and the set design and all that. I thought it was really beautiful. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to add it to my cozy fall roster.
All right. Well, fair enough. So there there you have it. Just as the title line, our opening insinuates, we see it and we inevitably disagree.
So
this may be, at least since we've been doing the podcast version, I think this may be the widest deficit we've ever had between
you're right.
our ratings. I think this is...
Well, we've had some shockingly good movies this year.
Yeah.
So, so next time we'll see how you feel about the newest iteration of the
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The Mutant Turtle.
You know, if you're gonna try
Karate Teens.
If you're gonna try to annoy me with that, you're gonna need to remember it.
The Mutant Turtle Karate Teens.
But yes, so next time we will travel to the sewers of New York and yes, take a look at the latest iteration of one of my childhood fondest friends, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I swear I just had to stop him from buying a pizza-shaped backpack.
Yeah, she did. I saw it and I wanted it, and it was like, no. But anyway, so thank you all for coming along with the drive with us. Thank you, my love. No matter what the movie is, any movie I see with you is a good one.
Yeah, except for Queen Bees.
Except for Queen Bees, yes. You are never going to let that go.
Never. I will never forgive Jane Curtin.
Anyway, so yes, please join us next time. Thank you for coming along. And as always, drive safe, and we will see you at the movies.